Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack one of the shortest, but wow, one of the most powerful letters ever written.
So, we're diving into the shortest letter written by the Apostle Paul. And it's really just a personal note, but it carries this truly revolutionary message about forgiveness and equality. It's not about some grand, complicated church doctrine. No, it's all about how faith can completely reshape our most personal relationship.
So picture this. It's around AD 60, and this letter is being written from a Roman prison. Its purpose wasn't to debate theology. It was to untangle this deeply personal and frankly dangerous human dilemma. And get this, Paul isn't writing from some position of power. He's literally in chains, which, you gotta admit, makes his appeal so much more compelling. Okay, so at the very heart of this story, you've got three people. Their lives have gotten tangled up in a way that challenges the entire structure of their society. So let's meet the key players in this high-stakes drama.
First up, you've got Philemon, a respected church leader, a guy whose house was actually the local church. Then there's Onesimus, his slave, who ran away. Under Roman law, he could be brutally punished, maybe even killed for that. And finally, there's Paul the Apostle, who now finds himself right in the middle of it all, sending Onesimus back to his master with this very letter in his hand.
And that right there sets up the central question, the real conflict Paul has to deal with. How does this new faith completely change one of the most broken human relationships imaginable? This wasn't just a personal problem, This was a direct challenge to the entire social pyramid of the Roman Empire. A huge deal.
Okay, and Paul's strategy here, it's just brilliant. Instead of pulling rank as an apostle and just commanding Philemon what to do, he makes this heartfelt appeal that's all based on love. He actually starts by praising Philemon for his faith, kind of laying this spiritual foundation for the absolutely revolutionary request he's about to make.
Paul builds this deeply personal connection. He calls Onesimus his own child. Now, that language, that's not an accident. It's incredibly intentional and powerful. He's basically reframing Onesimus, not as a piece of property, but as a beloved person, a member of the family. And this is where it gets really clever. Check this out. The name Onesimus literally means useful. So Paul is making this incredible wordplay. He's saying that the man who was once useless to Philemon as a runaway is now incredibly useful, or Onesimus, to the cause of the gospel. It just perfectly shows the transformation that's happened in him.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this absolutely radical shift in identity. See, before Christ, Onesimus was just a label, a slave, legally considered property. But Paul argues that in Christ, he has a brand new primary identity. He's a brother, a person, a member of God's family. And this all leads up to the climax of his request.
And right here, this is it. This is the revolutionary heart of the entire letter. Paul is asking Philemon to welcome Onesimus back, not based on Roman law, which would see him as property, but based on their shared brotherhood in Christ. He's asking Philemon to let his faith define the relationship, not his culture.
Now, Paul's a smart guy. He knows forgiveness isn't free, right? It comes at a cost, especially if Onesimus stole something on his way out. So how does he handle that? Well, he proves he's willing to pay the price himself.
And what he does here, it's a brilliant picture of a core theological idea. Paul makes this offer of substitution. He says, I'll absorb any debt Onesimus owes. This act perfectly mirrors the Christian concept of grace, where Christ pays the debt for humanity. Paul is literally living out the message he preaches.
This letter is about so much more than just solving one problem between two guys. It introduces a truth that's so powerful that even though it didn't call for an immediate social revolution, it planted a seed that would eventually destroy the very foundations of slavery inside the church.
And this wasn't some one-off idea he had just for Philemon. No, this was a central theme for Paul. In his letter to the Galatians, he made this absolutely stunning declaration. Social, ethnic, economic status, all of that gets erased in this new community. Your identity in Christ is way more fundamental than any label society puts on you.
So what does this equality in Christ actually mean? Well, it means that all those worldly labels we use, master, slave, they just get replaced by one single unifying identity. It created a community where a rich landowner and a runaway slave were expected to treat each other like family. Just think about that.
So how does it all end? Well, that's the thing. The letter ends, and we never actually find out what Philemon decided. Paul says he's confident Philemon will do even more than he asks, maybe even set Onesimus free. But that ambiguity leaves the challenge wide open, not just for him,
but for all of us.
This letter really forces us to look in the mirror, doesn't it? It makes us ask, where have we allowed labels like boss, employee, political opponent, or even rival to completely overshadow someone's basic humanity?
And yeah, it's a tough reminder that real grace, real reconciliation, it costs something. Like Paul, we're challenged to move beyond what's fair and into what is loving. And sometimes that means we have to be the one to pay the price to heal a relationship.
At the end of the day, this tiny, super personal letter carries this absolutely massive idea. The key takeaway is that true, revolutionary change doesn't always come from loud protests or political movements. Sometimes it comes from the quiet transformation of one relationship at a time. It's a powerful reminder that the most profound change begins when we learn to see each other not by our labels, but by our shared humanity.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us.